Today's video is sponsored by DoorDash. So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. We're going to start this video off a little bit differently. We are in Dundee, Michigan, and we actually stopped at a Cabela's. We're on our way home. Now, how long have we been married, Melissa?
It'll be 34 years.
34 years. Mm-hmm. And what have you learned on this trip along with others?
That I know you better than you know yourself.
She just told me that
85%.
I'm very predictable.
Oh yeah, I know you way better than you know yourself. I know what you're going to do.
But the thing is...
Doesn't mean I like it.
Or know why I do it. But
no, 85% of what you do is a mystery to me. Yeah, it seriously is. I know what you're going to do. I just don't know why you're going to do it. And here's a prime example. We stopped at this Cabela's. I look at some clothes for my grandkids. You know, they have fudge, so I buy some fudge. And we check out separately. We don't even shop together. Like, Mike calls me and says, I'm in the truck whenever you're ready. I'm like, okay. I'm buying my fudge. I bought a shirt. And Mike buys something that I just totally could bet that he would buy. He bought a Cabela's sleeping bag. Now, why... That doesn't surprise me because we have 10 sleeping bags at home.
Not one like that.
We don't need any more sleeping bags.
The other issue has been the driving.
Oh my gosh, the driving is...
When there's music on, I'll admit I drive faster. When there's a podcast on, I drive slower.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, I start like twitching. Oh. And
she almost reached over and pushed on my leg one time to push down the gas pedal.
But like, we did that for a good solid 5 miles until he finally says, wow, this guy's going kind of slow. I'm like, you've been right behind him for like 10 miles. And for 5 of it, I've been, I'm even like, can he not get over? So yeah, we would have been almost home point in the driveway if I was driving. I know.
Yeah, maybe so, Melissa.
But I will. Here's something you wore off of me because I'm going to confess something that I have become like a Mike Morgan. Look what I bought.
Travel snack, party mix classic.
I look at this and it just screams Mike Morgan. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy Uncle Buck's party mix classic.
For the ride home.
You know what they did have in there? They had pretzels that are very much like...
Dots?
Yeah. They're called like Jesse's, Uncle Jesse's, and they are real spicy, she said. I asked the lady. But they're braided. They look a lot like dots.
So, you're pretty happy with our marriage and how I act on the road?
It was a great trip. We had a great trip.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
At the beginning of today's video, I mentioned that it was sponsored by DoorDash, and I want to thank them for sponsoring today's video. We are huge fans. As you know, if you've been watching our channel for a while, you know that our oldest son, Hunter, he has autism, he's nonverbal, and Hunter likes a good quality chicken sandwich at least once a day. And most days, I'm able to kind of drop what I'm doing. We hop in the truck or the Subaru, and we go get a chicken sandwich. Other days, there's just a whole bunch of things going on, and that's where DoorDash comes in. The world we live in now is pretty amazing when you think about it. If you need something or want something, you can have it delivered right to your door, and DoorDash can deliver it. DoorDash will deliver pretty much anything you need. Now, we primarily use it for a quality chicken sandwich for Hunter. Works out fantastic. The app is very easy to navigate. It's quick and easy. And you know, like everything I do in life, I try to make the best use of my time. And some days I just don't have the time to go out, and I have other things to do that would be a better use of my time, which is why I use DoorDash. DoorDash is your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to get almost anything delivered, and using discount code Morgans50, get 50% off up to $10 on your first order of $15 or more. So I am down here at the wood yard today, and it is a warm one. I got a lot going on here. We're going to go over a few things, but Melissa and I got back from Michigan late yesterday. And then Melissa's brother and his wife came in from out of town, and I picked them up at the airport last night. So I've had a lot of windshield time in the last 24 hours. Yesterday at this time, I was in northern Michigan. I guess it's northern Michigan. I don't know if it's... We weren't in the upper peninsula, but we were below the bridge. But we were up there pretty far. I'm calling it northern Michigan. But if you saw the last video, you kind of know what's going on. We visited an operation up there, and man, it was a smooth operation. It really was. We got to see a processor out in the woods harvesting logs. While we were there, they were actually thinning a red pine patch. They were taking some hard maple and stuff out of there. And I think this was federal land. But anyway, we saw that. And then we went to the sawmill, which was the cleanest sawmill I have ever seen in my life. I won't get into it a whole lot because the video before this one had all that. But everything was paved. Everything was neat and organized and clean. And it was like a big circle. The logs come in one end, debarker, sawmill, kiln, to the molding room, and where they run all the different types of siding and all the products that they make. And anyway, we left Michigan yesterday, and we brought 2.5 bunks of the 6-inch tongue and groove with us, because there's a big change at the cabin coming up. As you know, I was sawing some red pine to put on the interior walls of the cabin. And I saw a restaurant in Wall, South Dakota when we were out west. And I liked the way that it looked. And it does look really nice. They just had rough cut lumber, no board and batten. They put black tar paper behind it. I really liked the look. And I sawed a whole bunch of lumber to use on the walls down there. And then I started looking around, and I considered buying tongue and groove from Quahana Millworks, which is where I got all the tongue and groove white pine for the building. It's really nice stuff. That's a white pine that comes from up in New England. But the problem with that is the finishing. It takes a lot of time and a lot of room. And that's something that I don't have down at the cabin. The entire cabin, it's 2 stories, but it's 14 by 28. Just not a lot of room in there. And I'm thinking, do I finish the stuff up here? Do I try doing it down there? Because the way I was doing it, sand it lightly, pre-stain, stain, and then like a polyurethane on top of that. It was a whole process. When I did the building, like the game room and the garage up here, I'd be afraid to guess how many hours I have wrapped up in that. You know, I spent a lot of evenings and late nights and real early mornings doing that. So with all that being said, I found these guys, and Darren he found us, actually. He watches our channel, the guy that owns the sawmill, the wood shop, woodworker shop, all that stuff. And I started looking at their website, and I'm like, man, that pre-finished stuff is a ginormous time saver. That's where most of your time is. You know, putting the tongue and groove up doesn't take that long. And so I said, you know what, we're going to get some. And we bought some to do the cabin. And they ship, but I said, we'll come pick it up. I'd like to do a video on the whole process, see where this stuff comes from and how it's made. Which leads me to today. We got home late last night after the airport and all that. And it's going to rain here, I think this afternoon. A bunch of heavy rain, maybe on Saturday, which is coming up. And I wanted to get some of this under roof. It's all wrapped up. It's got a bag over it. And it's wrapped completely underneath it. I don't think the weather's going to hurt it, but I just didn't want to take any chances. So let me show you what I got going on here now and what the plan is moving forward. By the way, this thing here, absolutely incredible. And you know what? I'm not saying that because it's a Vermeer. My choice was either Ditch Witch or Vermeer, just because they have, I think, the biggest lift capacities out there of any of the mini skids. So I'm not just touting the Vermeer. I really like it. I got a little squeak that I don't like, but besides that, I love the machine. But the capability of this is just incredible. Those lifts of lumber, that tongue and groove, they said they weigh around 2,000 pounds. And the first one I lifted, I just moved it from on top of two lifts, and I set it on this one. And I just wanted to move the trailer here under roof. Like I said, this lift here wasn't that, it's not a full lift. It's got the bag, and then it's wrapped all the way around. So I don't think the weather would hurt it, but I want to get this on the walls as soon as I can. And I didn't want to take it all down to the cabin at once because, like I said, there's just not that much room in there, and I'd be working around it all. So I put this lift on top of that one, pulled the trailer under the pavilion here, which I could use one double this size plus this one. But I got everything under roof, the tractor, the mini skid, all the other stuff's up the building. Got some attachments in here. And then I took a full lift and I put it here on the hydraulic tail trailer. That last trailer was the tilt deck. You saw that video the other day explaining why I have two trailers that are nearly identical. One is a tilt deck. This one is a hydraulic tail. After about a year, you know, I'm going to decide which one that I want to keep. Mort's was nice enough to make a tilt deck. Long story, but I did a video on it all last week. So that's the story on that. This lift will go to West Virginia down to the cabin. And I'm thinking tomorrow morning, I was going to load up all my tools and kind of start putting it up, but I got a busy couple days coming up. But I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and just run this down tomorrow. I'm going to have to hand unload it all, put it inside the cabin, and I'm going to start by I'm going to start upstairs and work my way down. But I'll get a whole bunch of that wood in there. I'll leave some of it downstairs, take the rest upstairs. I've got some other things I need to do down there, and then I need to come back, and probably the first of next week I'll go down for 2 or 3 days and see what I get done. The big thing is going to be remembering all my tools. You know, that doesn't sound like it would be that hard, but I know, like when I was putting up the tongue and groove in the building, you might work a couple hours and realize you need a little something that you had laying over on the workbench or you know, sitting in a corner somewhere. I just want to try to remember everything I could possibly need and just go down there and spend a couple days and put up tongue and groove. I've been actually looking forward to doing this for a while, which this was one of my deciding factors. Instead of using the rough cut, the tongue and groove, because by the time I got done putting up all that stuff in the building, I got really good at it. You know what I mean? I've done it before, but you kind of forget things, and each time you do it, you learn new tricks and little things that make it go easier and a nicer job. And when I was done with the building, I think there was 7,000 feet or something I put in that building up there. by the time I was done, I was like a pro at that stuff. And I'm like, now I'm ready to do it again. Now I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Now there will be a big difference with the stuff I'm putting down in the cabin that I really think is another huge time saver. Besides it being pre-finished, that's a big one. It's also end matched. So the ends are tongue and groove as well. So you don't have to stop, make your cuts right on a stud, and just have 3/4 inch overlap, you know, when a butt joint. These are tongue and groove with beveled edges. It looks really nice. Wait till you see this stuff. And that'll definitely speed things up as well. And it also greatly reduces the waste as well. You'll see all that when I'm putting it up. So those were all the deciding factors to get me where I'm at right now. And I think I mentioned this is red pine, not white pine. And I learned something else. I could just keep talking all day in today's video. The more you see how other people do things, the better. You know what I mean? I always see comments from people, and I may do things a little differently than what they do. And some people may think I'm nuts, and that's totally fine. But if you keep your eyes open and you pay attention and you listen to other people, you can learn a lot. And I learned a lot when we went up there to Michigan. Just they do things a little bit differently. Around here, people use both white and red pine, but it seems as though white pine is the preferred wood. Years ago, I've got a patch of red pine down over the hill, and I asked a guy, has a big sawmill operation, you know, what's red pine like? I got these big, tall red pine. Is it worth sawing? And he was like, nah, you don't want to mess with that stuff. It's real sappy. And that was kind of the end of it. So for a couple years, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I don't want to use that red pine for anything. And then I went somewhere. I think we were at Buckenstock years ago. Met Buck and Billy Ray, and I got to talking to a guy, and he worked at a sawmill. And I said, what do you guys saw? He said, red pine. I said, you like it? He said, that's all we saw. And then I started learning more about it, and then we bought the property in West Virginia. It's got both red and white pine. And I come to find out people use red pine all over the place. That's what all this stuff is. Everything that they make up there at that place I was at is all out of red pine, and it's absolutely beautiful. Something else that I learned, this is actually kind of exciting. I still have probably 3,000 feet of red pine logs on the other side of the wood bunker. And that stuff doesn't keep real long. You know, we sawed a bunch of it. I sold some of it. Those are a couple lifts right there. I got some in the building. I got some down at the cabin that I'm going to use for a shed now that I'm not going to put it on the walls. But anyway, I sawed a bunch of it, and we have some left, a couple 3,000 feet, and it's starting to stain. It gets a blue stain to it. I thought, at first glance, you can see it in the end of the logs. I'm like, oh, this stuff's starting to go bad. Come to find out, blue stain red pine is kind of like highly desirable now. I didn't even know that. And when we were at that place in Michigan, we were looking in their showroom, and they have people on a waiting list for blue stain red pine. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's not the wood rotting or anything like that. It's not losing any integrity. It just gives it more character. And it gets looking really, really nice. And it was so funny, when I learned about that up there, I got on Facebook that night, and in the Woodmizer forum, there was somebody talking about blue stain pine. Never heard of it before. And there's 100 comments, and some people saying, oh, you want to, get rid of that stuff, it's no good. And then all these guys are showing projects that they made with the blue stain pine, and it's absolutely beautiful. So it's actually kind of sought after. And actually, I think I mentioned they have a waiting list up there for blue stain pine. So I learned all that. But like I said, if you don't ask questions and you don't pay attention to what other people are doing, you're not going to learn anything. You know what I mean? When we went out west there a few months ago, I just pulled over off the side of the road, talked to a guy. He watches our channel. I couldn't believe it. Middle of Wyoming somewhere, running a Woodmizer. Just built his own house. He was downsizing a little bit. And I learned about all the different types of trees they saw, what they do with them, how they dry stuff. And it's just fascinating to me. Like that thing in Michigan, it's only 6.5, 7 hour drive from here, and everything's different up there. Like the way they tally logs, the way they haul logs. Up there, I swear, whoever is in charge up there must own a tire company, because they've got so many axles on their trucks, but they can haul up to 160,000 pounds. But I think the trucks have, and trailers, 11 axles. So you got your steering tires, 10 more, that's 40, yeah, 42 tires on one truck, but they can haul 160. And they call it 100-inch wood. They haul everything, they cut everything at 100 inches long, and they fill that truck from front to back sideways or perpendicular to the truck, where here they haul everything parallel with the truck, if that makes sense. Do it totally different. I'm sure, you know, they do some longer stuff, but primarily for furniture, flooring, siding, everything's 100-inch wood. And I had no idea. 6.5, 7 hours from here, do things totally different than what we do. And we measure tally logs by the board foot. Well, this stuff, like the red pine, and whether it be for pulpwood or for, you know, tongue and groove, whatever, it's all measured by the cord. And one of those big trucks, I can't remember, I have to go back and listen. I think they haul 20 or 24 cords on one of those trucks. So that being said, they can haul 160,000 pounds. If I get a load of hardwoods here for firewood, they haul around 8 cord. You know, probably 7, really. But some of the loads I get are real big and they stick out from the back quite a bit. So I'm probably getting 7, 8 cords out of them. But typically 6 or 7 would be the number. So they're hauling, volume-wise, twice as much. Weight-wise, you know, the hardwood's way more, but they're hauling way more volume as well. So anyway, that's all the different things that I've learned the last couple of days. Some of it, now the goal is to not forget it all. So I said a whole bunch in a hurry there, but basically this lift is going down to the cabin. I might even throw a tarp over it as well. I'll strap that all down. I may even just shoot down there early tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? Be down there at daylight. Get that all inside. Figure out everything that I'm going to need. Check on some trail cameras. Do a few other things. And then first of next week, we'll be putting this stuff up. And I can't wait. It's really nice. Wait till you see it when it's done. But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. I appreciate y'all being here, and I will catch you on the next one.